I've only ever played Terraria once before. I didn't have much fun, but now I look back and that was probably due to my mindset I had at the time. I basically judged the game as a worse 2D Minecraft, but Terraria, well, is it Terraria or Terraria? I mean, I've heard both, but like, which one's right? I mean, who's to say? It's Terraria. Terraria is not just a 2D Minecraft ripoff like some people, like my old self, thought. And anyways, a more accurate description would be that it's a 2D modded Minecraft. And I mean that in the best way possible. If you love modded Minecraft, chances are you do or will love Terraria. And a lot of the mods for Minecraft come directly from Terraria, so it's kind of weird that it took me this long to start loving the game like I do now. And I felt it fitting that instead of doing a Let's Play style video, I would respect the game and take my time with it. Do this long form review slash sort of critique slash journey throughout the game. Throughout this playthrough, I had Hunter, who is my editor and, friend of 12 years, teach me how to play the game. We agreed that we would only play the world when we were together, so you couldn't do anything like mine or make gear or farm for anything unless we were both on the world on Discord talking to each other. The only exception was building, because building is kind of a thing where you want to just vibe, listen to music, listen to a book, and just build on your own, get your creativity flowing, and it doesn't really progress the world at all. But if you had to go and do something to get the building supplies, that was off limits.
And then it's going to say select world, you're going to go new, name it something stupid, and then just who cares about the name? You're never gonna. Who cares? Just make it something kind of memorable, so you know which world to go on. But you again probably only have one world anyway. So whatever.
that works out. We were going to go all out on this world, leave no stone unturned. We were gonna get everything that we wanted to get, build the crazy structures that we wanted to, and our final goal was to create the Zenith. This sword has the highest damage per second and is easily the most overpowered weapon in the whole game. But it's not easy to come by. We have to get 19 specific swords that come from killing bosses or going throughout the world and getting stuff to make this one weapon. But we were set on getting it and conquering the world in the process. When we first started the world, I had to get used to one unavoidable thing, the controls. I don't play on PC much, and the mouse and keyboard is more foreign to me than a controller. But I've used a controller while playing Terraria, and it is the worst experience I've ever had in my entire life. So, I'm going to use a keyboard and mouse, just like I do when I play Minecraft. I promise the Minecraft comparisons stop there. And while getting used to keyboard and mouse took a while, getting used to the mechanics took even longer. I mean, what can I say? It took me a while to stop cutting wood with an axe. But I mean, for real, who uses a pickaxe to cut wood? It literally doesn't make any fucking sense at all. It's completely fucking... Hunter informed me that we needed to build a hotel for the NPCs in the game, so we can buy and sell stuff later on and get the stuff that we need. Each NPC has a sort of goal or threshold that you have to pass for them to come to your village, but once they are there, you have to make them a room. This is what the hotel's for. For a room to be worthy enough for an NPC to move into it, it needs a couple things. It needs walls, background walls, a door, table, chair, and lighting source. So we're only 5 minutes into the game, and me and Hunter have already proven we are nicer to the NPCs than Jeff Bezos is to his employees. It was at this time while building the hotel, I found one of my favorite things in the entire game. So how do I do the thing where it's, oh, that, dude, oh, that's cracked. Oh, I love that. Auto placing walls. If I can just hold a button and the game does everything for me, the game's doing it right. Me enjoying things like auto placing walls and later on the weapons I would acquire and gravitate towards, Hunter probably assumed early on what type of class I would be. See, in Terraria, there are 4 different classes. There's melee, which is anything that's just close combat, ranged, which is obviously anything ranged, mage, which is almost everything having to do with using mana, and my personal favorite, summoner. This is the one that Hunter early on predicted that I would be based off of the type of stuff that I liked. Summoners use staffs, which summon minions that fight for them, so basically I don't have to do any of the work, and I love this type of stuff in games. Heat-seeking missiles, kill streaks in Call of Duty that do things for me. Auto-sorting inventory is a personal favorite of mine. I love when games have that, which Terraria does, big surprise. So basically, if I don't have to do anything in the game, but stuff still gets done, I consider it perfect. And obviously I need things to kill for me because I'm kind of an idiot. One thing I'm still conflicted on is the penalty you get for dying in this game. Unlike most survival games, in this game, you don't lose all of your things. In Terraria, all you lose is money. So it'd be like in Minecraft, all you losing is XP and none of your items. Oh shit, I forgot I was not gonna say Minecraft again. And most of the time, this really isn't a big deal because you can just throw all of your money into a chest. And so when you die, you don't really lose anything. Combine that with an item called the Magic Mirror, which automatically teleports you back to your spawn. You can just go home, put all your money into a chest, and then keep doing what you were doing. But it is a double-edged sword because I would find myself in situations where I'd be like, what do I have to lose? And I just get a false sense of security because the penalty is so low. And I know that's kind of a me problem, but also it does allow them to put things in the game that are just absurdly and stupidly difficult because they know that if you die, it's not the end of the world. So the game's kind of like difficult and easy at the same time. And speaking of difficulty, while we were building the hotel, Hunter explained to me the main stages of the game. So basically there are two parts of the game. There's pre-hard mode and hard mode. You spawn in pre-hard mode, but to get past that into hard mode, you have to kill the Wall of Flesh. But to kill the Wall of Flesh, you need to defeat a bunch of other bosses so then you're geared up enough to fight it. The pre-hard mode bosses that we don't necessarily need to fight, but that we're going to, is the Eye of Cthulhu, King Slime, Brain of Cthulhu, Queen Bee, and Skeletron. So we finished building the hotel. We'll be fine for when NPCs show up in the future, but now we need to gear up ourselves so we can fight the first boss. We both just picked a side of the map. I was going to explore the left side, he was going to explore the right. Mining and exploring in this game was very frustrating when I first started. I was just always behind on ores, gear, and money, and Hunter was always 2 steps ahead of me, which isn't surprising because he was teaching me. But it did make me feel like I was holding back progression in a big way. And it doesn't help that I would stick to the safer biomes that yield less risk but also are less rewarding. With time, I did end up getting better at this, but at the beginning it was super slow and grindy and I was just not having a fun time. I look back at the footage and I just see a bunch of stuff that I've missed. I'm like, oh, there's a chest that I could have got. Oh, there's a heart crystal. Why didn't I mine that? Like, it's just very annoying that I was just so stupid in the beginning. But because I did miss so many things, I ended up learning how to maximize my time while I was mining, and I just got everything, which eventually paid off because I would never throw anything away. A lot of the times in the future, Hunter would come to me asking if I had a certain item that he didn't have because I just wouldn't throw anything away because I didn't know what was useful and what wasn't. But because I would grab a lot of things in the game and really wouldn't throw anything away, I had major inventory issues. I mean, a lot of the things in the game just don't stack, so I had to rely a lot on just offloading stuff into my chest. I would just magic mirror home, throw a bunch of shit in my chests, go back to mining. But this does lead me into something I wanted to talk about, the inventory system. This game has one of, if not the best inventory system in any game I have ever encountered. There's a lot of games that have horrible inventory systems, and then there's a lot more that have just the bare minimum, which is just some chests, maybe an inventory, and then a hotbar. But this game does it almost perfect and gives you a ton of options. I think the best way to do this would be a pros and cons list. So let's just go through the pros of what I think are really good about this inventory system and then the few cons I have. So for pros, I have the most common things in the game often stack all the way up to 999. So stuff like dirt, stone, and wood. They all do this. There are dedicated inventory slots for money and ammo, which makes it super easy and frees up a bunch of space. There's auto-depositing your items into chests that are nearby. It's amazing. There's a favorite button, so basically you can just select items that you just don't want to move or you want to keep in your inventory or you don't want to accidentally throw away. And it is very simple to rename the chests in the game, so this makes sorting stuff a lot easier. But by far my favorite thing with this whole system is the auto sort inventory button. I don't understand why it's not a bare minimum in most games that have inventory systems. It should be. I mean, just a simple button that just you click it and it shoves all of your items and it stacks them for you and it shoves them all to the top left. Just makes everything super simple. It's super easy to see stuff, and I just don't understand why it's not just a bare minimum for games moving forward. But it is not perfect. Here are some of my cons that I have. The chests in this game are far too small, and I think that this game needs a double chest system or an upgradable chest system where the chests just hold double or maybe 25% more items, just so I don't have to rename stuff like Natural Drops 1, Natural Drops 2, or like Armor 1 and Armor 2. I should just have that all in one chest, and I just think that makes it a lot simpler and it doesn't really hurt anything. In the beginning of the game, your inventory is far too small. You're collecting a lot of items in the game, and I just think that earlier on you need to have something that maybe gives you a little bit extra inventory like you do later on when you get the money trough. And one thing that is a personal opinion of mine, I don't really know how to feel about being able to delete things from my inventory. I think the system itself is okay, but there's no reason why you can't change the hotkey to delete items. I mean, it's right next to shift. That's literally how you put things from your inventory into a chest, or from a chest into your inventory. It is like right next to each other. So sometimes I would just accidentally end up deleting things that I really didn't want deleted, and it never happened to something that was too valuable to where it really annoyed me, but it could happen, and that's what I'm worried about. So really there are only kind of like 3 cons, and they're kind of small, except for the chest one. That's a big one that I really wish they would change. But I did say it was near perfect, so why would I have a giant con list if I, thought it was this good? But after getting some better gear, it was finally time to fight our first boss. We were ready to fight the Eye of Cthulhu, or should I say it was ready to fight us. Certain bosses have a chance of spawning at night after you pass a certain threshold, but we had prepared enough. This was going to be a fairly simple fight. So our first boss is down, only a couple more to go. We did some more mining, some more exploring, geared up a little bit more, and then we went to fight Skeletron. To fight Skeletron, you have to find the dungeon. It's either on the far left or the far right of the map. Ours was on the far left. Skeletron wasn't too easy to take down, but it wasn't too difficult because we had geared up to a level that was above his. Killing him gave us access to the dungeon, which itself is more annoying and difficult than Skeletron. But we didn't really spend any time inside of the dungeon, so we just went back home, and by this time it was around 1 a.m. At this point, we had done a lot of exploring and mining, and I was finally ready to build a house. And Hunter, for some reason, said he had never, ever built a house in Terraria. Honestly, this isn't the biggest surprise to me. I mean, Hunter's not the most creative person ever. So he said that he just picks one of the rooms in his hotel, and then he just lines it with chests and just stays in it, which, I mean, more power to him, but I wanted to build a house. At first I was going to build an underground house, but then I realized that I should probably see what I can do and expand my horizons. My idea was to build a church. I wanted to give it like dark medieval vibes, but I didn't really quite get there, and later on I do a way better build. But I mean, I feel like I did pretty good for my first build. I mean, I'd spent all night on this build, and I was expecting Hunter to return the same energy when I told him to build a house of his own. But yeah. I don't know what I expected, but I did have higher expectations. Looking back, I probably should have lowered them, but this is... With my creative side getting to play the game, it was time to go back to the grind. And tonight, our goal was to get all the way to hard mode. This meant that we had to fight Queen Bee and make a Elevator, which is basically just a giant ass hole all the way to the bottom of the map. We killed a bunch of enemies in hell until we got the guide voodoo doll, which is needed to spawn the wall of flesh. But we didn't kill the wall of flesh quite yet. We first had to go get some items from Queen Bee and get the stuff she drops to make the fight a little bit easier. We ended up killing about half a dozen Queen Bees or so, just to get all the items we needed to make the fight way easier. My favorite thing that we got was the bee gun, which basically shoots out a ton of bees, and they just do a ton of damage to all the enemies around you. And this is where I actually think I set my sights like fully on being a summoner. Me and Hunter both got the Beekeeper, which is a sword needed later on for Zenith. It does pretty good base damage, but also does some extra by releasing some bees that also hurt the enemies. I also got a bee mount, which gave me very limited flight before later on when you get wings in hard mode. With these various bee-themed weapons and items, I think now it's time for us to go and fight the Wall of Flesh. Taking one last trip home, we grabbed all of our best weapons, gear, and made sure to take the guide voodoo doll with us to start the final fight before entering hard mode.
Okay, yep, you're gonna take the doll and throw it in the lava. Try to stick with it, but at the same time, like, don't let it touch you, okay?
Oh damn. Do we have to kill all the little arms or just the dude?
I got bee nades on him. We have to just kill the dude.
Ah.
Bad.
Now we are finally in hard mode. This is where the majority of the game's content is, and it's a lot more fun than pre-hard mode because you get way cooler stuff. We had 3 things to accomplish immediately after entering hard mode. We had to get wings, spawn all the ores into the world, and we had to gear up because, as you can tell, we got hit by a metaphorical and literal shitstorm. But first things first, Hunter wanted wings. Like, bad. Like, we skipped fighting King Slime and Brain of Cthulhu because he was in such a rush to get wings. In Hunter's own words, not having wings was like playing Minecraft without the sprint button. And after getting some of my own, He was definitely right. I would have killed to have some of these when I was building my house. But if you haven't played the game, it's not infinite flight. You just jump in the air and you can keep holding the spacebar and it'll just take you up to a certain level before you run out of stamina, sort of, for your wings. And then you can hold the spacebar and float down or just fall down without taking any fall damage. But honestly, it made the game feel a lot more free. I wasn't limited by gravity really anymore, and mining was so much easier with wings. Like, I cannot express how much easier and faster mining got after I got these. Now that we had wings, our plan was to go spawn the new ores into the world. When you kill the wall of flesh, you have a 100% chance of getting something called the Pone Hammer. Using this, you can break these things called Crimson Altars that are below the surface in the caves of the Crimson biome. And this is where it kind of gets confusing, so bear with me. The first Crimson Altar that you destroy with the Pone Hammer gives you one of two ores, either cobalt or palladium. The second gives you mithril or orichalcum. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I'm gonna say orichalcum. And the third, adamantite or titanium. Each altar you break afterwards increases the spawn rate of the select ores that you got in your world, but also increases the rate at which the crimson spreads throughout your world. The ores we ended up getting were cobalt, orichalcum, and titanium, and we broke around 9 altars, just a happy medium between a good amount of ores and the crimson not spreading too fast to where we can't control it. It's also important to note that the ores are the exact same. So for example, cobalt and palladium are the exact same statistically, but are different cosmetically. So we got the wings, and the ores are now in the world, and now all we have to do is gear up. But there is a slight problem. In order to mine cobalt, I need something called the Molten Pickaxe. This can only be obtained through Hellstone, but every block of Hellstone you break spawns some lava. Lava is very dangerous in this game, so I need some obsidian skin potions to protect myself from the lava. Obsidian skin potions often are found in shadow chests. These are found in the underworld, but to open them you need something called the shadow key, which you can only get from golden chests found in the dungeon. To open the golden chests in the dungeon, you need a golden key dropped from the enemies in the dungeon. And yes, I could have done this earlier, and Hunter told me to do it earlier, but to be honest, I didn't think the Molten Pickaxe was going to be this important. I thought it was just an upgraded pickaxe, and I was like, I'll just skip one. But no, I'd go all the way to the dungeon, kill a bunch of enemies, open a bunch of chests, finally get a shadow key, finally start looking for obsidian skin potions, eventually finding one and being able to mine hellstone, to make the Molten Pickaxe, to finally get cobalt. In total, a 2-hour grind for something I should have already had. But once I got to the point where I could mine cobalt, I ended up just getting enough to just get a pickaxe, then going straight to orichalcum, just getting enough for a pickaxe, and then going to titanium where I finally could upgrade my armor and my weapons. The cool thing about having these hard mode armors and weapons is they actually have unique abilities that pre-hard mode didn't have. For example, when you have a full set equipped of titanium armor, you get these cool shurikens that fly around you that add an extra layer of defense. And the better gear you get, the cooler abilities they have. This also goes with the swords and the bows. We ended up getting cool bows that could fire at a much faster rate, or fire 3 arrows at a time, or save you ammo, or swords that shot projectiles out of them. Just overall in hard mode, you get a lot cooler stuff. One of my personal favorites was the magic missile. While this weapon didn't actually do that much damage because I was leveled up enough to where this didn't really matter, and it was underpowered when I got it, but it didn't really matter. I still had it in my inventory for a while after it was underpowered just because I loved how the weapon felt and looked and what it did. As you can see, it shoots these cool guided projectiles that follow the enemies. Also, if you click it and hold down, it will follow your mouse wherever it goes, allowing me to hit shots in a lot of places most weapons can't. This fascination with cool weapons didn't really stop. I ended up at the end of the playthrough having a full chest just full of stuff that I just thought was really cool. Also with titanium comes the titanium drill. It is so much better than the pickaxe. The drill's a lot faster than the pickaxe, and this makes excavating and building a lot better. And the only real downside is that you get one less block of range. And honestly, when you're just using your pickaxe to just tunnel through the world, one less block of range really doesn't change much. Now that we have titanium gear, I think it's a really good time to talk about the progression and the stages of hard mode. In hard mode, there are 6 bosses that you need to fight to get to the eventual final boss. Just like pre-hard mode, there are some extras, but the necessary ones are the mechanical bosses. There are 3 of them: the Destroyer, Skeletron Prime, and the Twins. Afterwards, you will fight Plantera. This is a boss found in the jungle, and after you kill her, you can go fight Golem in the jungle temple. Afterwards, you can fight the lunatic cultist at any time, starting the final event to defeat the Moonlord. But we had to start this by killing the mechanical bosses. In my time getting the molten pickaxe, I ended up getting some spawners for the mechanical bosses. All we needed first was an arena to fight them in. We didn't make anything fancy, just a simple big ass box full of platforms and various other things that we put around to help us regain health and mana faster. In Hunter's opinion, the Destroyer was the easiest one to kill, so we started with it first. Honestly, it wasn't too bad of a fight. I wasn't really worried about dying at all, and honestly, at this point, I felt like no boss was going to be difficult because we had never failed or even gotten close to dying at a boss yet. This would change when we eventually would fight the twins, but next up is fighting Skeletron Prime. So yeah, he's basically just a more annoying and difficult Skeletron. And while Skeletron Prime was difficult to kill, I was still confident at this point that every boss that we would fight, we would actually be a higher level than them, to where no boss would actually get close to killing us. But that would all change when we finally fought the twins. We finally died to a boss, and I didn't really take it as much. I was like, oh, it was a fluke. We died to a boss. You know, we're pretty good at the game. And then it kept happening. It took us a total of 3 attempts just to kill the twins. And honestly, this really humbled me. I thought every boss was going to be pretty easy. I just thought we would gear up to a higher level than they were, then kill them every single time. But this proved that that wasn't always going to happen, and really, moving forward, it never really happened again. And while at the time I did think the bosses were annoying, looking back, I really think this was a fun time full of rapid progression, and really gave me a grasp of what the game was going to be like moving forward. A moment that really stands out to me is when I was playing alone, just building, moving the hotel from above ground to underground. Because I was just playing alone and really wasn't doing anything, I didn't feel the need to record, but if I did, I would have captured this glorious moment that now I only have a story of. So this is the setting. I'm alone in my room. It's about 2 a.m. I'm just building, vibing, listening to music, using bombs to excavate the area I was going to move the hotel to. I'm chucking these bombs down a giant hole, and as soon as they pass the bottom of my screen, so past the limit where I can see, I get this message at the bottom left of my screen. You feel vibrations from deep below. I was like, oh, that's a pretty cool message, you know? They have something for if you throw a bunch of bombs to the ground, you can feel the vibrations of it. And if you've played the game, you know that I made a very stupid and wrong assumption. Because soon afterwards, I see a health bar pop up for the Destroyer. Every night, there's a small percentage that one of the 3 mechanical bosses can spawn, and I just got unlucky enough to have it at that night. But seeing that health bar on my screen, I verbally said, oh shit. And I think I have the world record for the fastest log off of Terraria of all time. Like, straight up, give me my record. I was gone instantly. And this was before I fought the mechanical bosses, so I didn't know what that was, and I was not at all prepared for them. But that is some never tell me the odds insane amount of luck that really made me feel as if the world of Terraria was much more powerful than I was, and anything could happen at any moment, and it really does stand out. After killing all 3 of the mechanical bosses, you get a message. The jungle grows restless. This is an indication that you're now ready to fight Plantera. And oh boy, do I fucking hate Plantera. And it's not even because of the boss itself, it's because of something that she drops, and we'll get to more of that later. To fight Plantera, it's best that we upgrade to Chlorophyte gear though. Unlike the other 3 ores we first spawned in after entering hard mode, Chlorophyte is a little bit different. It's unique to the jungle biome, and it is the last ore we will mine throughout the whole entire game. But to get Chlorophyte, of course, there's something else we have to get. The Drax. A combination of a pickaxe and an axe. It's crafted using materials from the mechanical bosses, so we had to go kill them more times just to get the Drax, just so we could go mine more Chlorophyte. And already I'm getting flashbacks to getting the molten pickaxe. While in the jungle looking for Chlorophyte, we were also looking for life fruit. These are used to increase our health. We got a good amount of both, and we're able to upgrade our gear from titanium all the way to Chlorophyte. And now that we have Chlorophyte armor and tools along with some extra health, I think it's finally time to upgrade all of our offensive weapons. Mainly our sword. This whole time while we've been playing the game, we've also been collecting various swords to create the Zenith. Most of the time when we would find a certain sword that we needed, we were actually already past the point where that sword would be useful by the amount of damage it did. Not this time though. This time we were set on making the true Knight's Edge. For the true Knight's Edge, all we need is the Knight's Edge and then some drops from the mechanical bosses. But for the Knight's Edge, we need 4 different swords to make it. 4 swords that we need are the Blood Butcher, which is easily crafted from Crimtane bars, and we have an abundance of that. The Blade of Grass, which is a sword that is somewhat easily crafted just by finding some things that are in the jungle. The Fiery Greatsword, which is crafted from Hellstone bars, and we both already had those. And finally, the Murumaso, which is found in the golden dungeon chests, but I already got lucky, and when I was going to get the Molten Pickaxe, I found actually 3, but we only need 2. We took those 4 swords to a crimson altar and crafted the Knight's Edge, taking that back to our house along with some drops from the mechanical bosses, making the true Knight's Edge. This sword does the most base damage out of any sword you can get before killing Plantera. And also, for it being a sword, it does pretty good at being a ranged weapon as well. About every other time you swing the sword, it'll shoot this green spinning blade that hits enemies that does the same amount of damage as your sword. This continues to be a trend even later into the game, where swords almost do every single thing better than every other class does. This is especially true with the Zenith. There is almost no reason to use any other weapon in the game as soon as you get that one sword. And I know that's kind of the point. I mean, it is one of the hardest things to get in the game, if not the hardest thing. But I wish that there was something that compared to it that the other classes could use that were on the same level. And honestly, once you get the Zenith, nothing is really dangerous anymore, so I don't really think it would change the game that much to have 3 other items that were doing just as much damage. But getting back to the True Knight's Edge, we got the cool sword, now we wanted the cool ranged weapon. We ended up making a gun called the Mega Shark. All it took was a little patience and a bunch of dead sharks, but we got that and Chlorophyte bullets as its ammo. Chlorophyte bullets are really cool and honestly my favorite because they're enemy-seeking bullets. If only I had these when I was playing COD, right? With our Chlorophyte gear, the Mega Shark, and the True Knight's Edge, we were finally ready to face Plantera. Like about half the bosses in this game, Plantera doesn't have a specific spawn location, rather she just has something that you have to do in order to spawn her. For Plantera, you have to find Plantera bulbs, which spawn randomly throughout the jungle and are somewhat hard to find. I said somewhat because later we got our asses kicked because we can't find them. We ended up finding a few of them, and then we built an arena that was equidistant between all of them. Hey Siri, is equidistant a word? Yeah, at equal distances. That makes sense. I'll keep it in. So we grabbed all our best potions, broke the Plantera bulb, and let the battle begin. Directly after the fight, we got a prompt. Screams are echoing from the dungeon. Basically, it just means we can go fight Golem. Since we already knew where the jungle temple was, which is where you fight Golem, and we already got the key from Plantera, all we needed to do was make our way down to the temple. Going through the temple, you're looking for 3 things: enemies, chests, and traps. The enemies will provide you with power cells, which are used to spawn Golem. The chests provide you with things to spawn solar eclipses that we'll need later on, and the traps are just really dangerous if you're not paying attention, and it's the easiest way to die when you're in there. But when you eventually make it to the boss fight room, you will almost guarantee to have a power cell that you can use to spawn Golem. And it was surprisingly an easy fight. I think it was the easiest fight in all of hard mode. If you would have given any other boss Golem's damage and health, I think this would be way harder, and it would actually be a challenge to where it wasn't just a complete rollover when we get to this point. But now we're in post Golem. I mean, this is like the end game. After this, we can technically fight the lunatic cultist, which will lead us into the final fight. But we weren't prepared for that just yet. We still had to upgrade just a tiny bit more, and there was a lot of miscellaneous stuff we wanted to get done before we got that final step to killing the final boss. This next part of the game, post Golem, is probably the most frustrated I've ever been while playing this game. And the worst part was that this frustration was in no part due to each of us. It was due to pure luck, or should I say lack of luck. We had to get the broken hero sword to make the Terra Blade, the final sword until we beat the last boss. To get the broken hero sword, we needed to kill Mothron, which is a mini boss that only spawns during solar eclipses and only has a 25% chance of dropping it. And while I got a broken hero sword fairly early, it took Hunter a very long time for him to get one of his own. But I mean, we discussed it and decided that why should I wait for him to get one of his own when I could just make mine and help him get his. Using 24 Chlorophyte bars and the Excalibur, which is a sword that we had a little bit ago, we made the True Excalibur. Then, using the True Excalibur, True Knight's Edge, and the Broken Hero Sword, I made the Terra Blade. The Terra Blade wasn't the biggest jump in damage, but the big improvement was its fire rate. The rate of the projectiles it shot ended up making the damage per second far superior than True Knight's Edge. And while I did kind of like having one thing that I only had and Hunter didn't for once, we did have to get him one of his own. So we had to get him the Broken Hero Sword. But to do that, we needed to spawn solar eclipses, but you can only do that during the day. so at night we needed something to do. We ended up just trying to max out our life by going for life fruit. So during the day, it was solar eclipse and kill Mothron, and by night, we were getting life fruit. And we did this for a long ass time. Not because we couldn't find life fruit, no, it was because we could not, for the life of us, get the broken hero sword to drop from Mothron a second time. It only has a 25% drop rate. That is not even rare, that is uncommon at best. And during solar eclipses, it's not like you only get one, you get multiple every single time. You get about half a dozen every solar eclipse, but we were just getting so unlucky that we ended up going through about 5 of them before finally getting a second one. I mean, we got so unlucky that we both got Mothron wings. Both of us. That has a 5% drop rate, and we got that well before we got a second broken hero sword. But we did eventually get it, and we made Hunter his own Terra Blade. But our unluckiness does not stop there. The next goal we had was to get the Seedler, a sword dropped from Plantera. It has a drop rate of 14%, but we had to find more Plantera bulbs, and I quickly became a pro at this. Oh, I found another. Okay, so it's like 4 squares. I was thinking. Oh, I found one. Oh, I found like 2. Oh, I found.
I know,
one.
yeah. Yeah, where?
Wow, I'm a god at this. Let's go down. And I found another one next to it.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, you're a fucking god. What are you doing with your life? Go be a detective or some shit.
Just from that, you should know how many times we fought Plantera, and that was just a sample of them. That was not even every single one of them. If you just want a hint at the amount of Planteras we fought, I had 17 jungle temple keys, which, if you have forgotten, always drop when you kill Plantera. They have a 100% drop rate. Oh, and that 17 number was just me. I have no idea how many Hunter killed, because he threw all of his away. And just being generous, I'm not going to double the number, but we probably killed from 25 to 30 Planteras until we had to give up because we didn't even get a second one. We only got 1 Seedler. That's how unlucky we got. Eventually, further down the playthrough, I randomly killed a Plantera and got one, but yeah, we killed around 30 Planteras before finally getting 2 Seedlers. And just to get some of the swords out of the way, we went for a 3rd sword called the Horseman's Blade. It only spawns during the Pumpkin Moon event and it drops from pumpkins. But we quickly learned that we were not powerful enough, and we just decided to move on because we couldn't kill enough pumpkins to get the drop. And while the Pumpkin Moon event was a little too chaotic for us, at this point we felt we were ready to take on the final boss. We were ready to kill the Moonlord. The Moonlord has a very, very unique way of spawning him. It's not as simple and quick as the rest of the bosses. To spawn him, you have to do 2 things. Fight the Lunatic Cultist, and then destroy the 4 pillars. You fight the Lunatic Cultist right next to the dungeon, where in pre-hard mode we fought Skeletron. But before we made our way to the dungeon, Hunter warned me that this is a step that was irreversible. If we did this, if we went to fight the Lunatic Cultist, we would have to fight the Moonlord. So we pulled out all the stops. We got all of our best weapons, all of our best gear, every single potion that could possibly help us, and went all the way to the dungeon to fight the Lunatic Cultist. Upon the Lunatic Cultist's death, the 4 pillars spawn throughout the world. Each pillar represents a class you can choose. Solar for melee, Vortex for ranged, Nebula for mages, and Stardust for summoners like myself. Each pillar will spawn randomly in 4 locations equally spaced across the map. Once you reach your first pillar, which you can either go left to right or right to left, depending on where the dungeon spawns, you have to kill 100 enemies to drop the shield that's around the pillar. When the shield is finally dropped, you can do damage to the main pillar. Once killed, they drop fragments that, depending on the pillar, are used to create gear that benefit each of the classes they represent. For example, Stardust fragments are used to make Stardust armor and weapons that benefit summoners specifically. And now that you know how the pillars work, I can tell you my opinion on them, which is mostly positive. See, while the pillars are challenging at first, they do get easier when you get better gear. And instead of killing 100 enemies being a challenge, it becomes just tedious and takes a long time. This is even more apparent when you do master difficulty, which me and Hunter did with our max level gear, and you have to kill 200 enemies. And I don't know, to me it seems like the step before killing the Moonlord should be more grandiose, and just having it be kill 400 enemies is a little bit underwhelming. So this is what I would do for the pillars. If I were making the game, if I could change something about it, because I've criticized it, now I need to have some sort of change or adjustment that I would personally like. So this is the way the OverusedBruh's pillars are gonna work, alright? It starts off the exact same. You go, kill the Lunatic Cultist. Same difficulty, everything like that. As soon as you reach that first pillar, that's when things change a little bit. The enemies are a slightly higher difficulty, and you only have to kill 35 of them. After 35 enemies are killed, instead of the shield dropping and the pillar just being a straight damage sponge, the pillar itself hatches and then there's a boss inside. Each boss is tailor-made for each of the pillars, so basically whatever weapons you can produce with the pillar itself, it would kind of have that sort of theme or vibe to it. But here's the kicker and what I think would be really cool. So let's take Vortex for example. Vortex represents the ranged class. When the boss spawns, you can only do 1 single damage per second with every other weapon except for ranged weapons. Ranged weapons do normal amount of damage. And because you are fighting 4 bosses, it's not that difficult. Each boss is at the same level, I would say, as Plantera, with health and damage. I personally like this change because it's not really about the boss fight itself. It's more about the grind to getting the best weapons in each class for the boss fight. But also, I did want you to be able to kill each boss no matter what type of weapon you had, just so if somebody wanted to do a playthrough where they're like copper short sword only, they will still technically be able to do it. This makes each of the pillars less tedious, and also second playthroughs around you'll get better and better weapons, and it requires you to get the best weapons in the game if you want to speedrun it as fast as you can. I think the only downside to this would probably be speedrunning. Instead of the speedrunners just getting one good weapon, they would have to get multiple of each, unless they found some sort of glitch, which they probably would. I genuinely do think this would make the pillars less tedious, and it would make it more beneficial to get more weapons, so there's more of kind of a quest to the pillars instead of just a quest to Lunatic Cultist, and then the pillars, and then the Moonlord. But I talked about this long enough, so I think it's time for you to see mine and Hunter's first fight with the Moonlord.
Why didn't you heal in the first place, home?
I'm at...
Okay. So you can only shoot. You can only hit his eyes and his
happens if he
hands and
dies?
his forehead. Just. I'll tell you in a second. Okay. So his eye is on this. There's an eye on each of his hand and an eye in his forehead. We have to lower all of those down. That laser does a lot of damage, dude. So stay away from the laser.
I'm dead. I got homing missile to the forehead. So yeah, we kind of got shafted, but it's alright. I mean, after just a few minutes, you can go kill the Lunatic Cultist, start the pillars, and then kill the Moonlord as many times as you want. And we need to do the pillars more anyways, because we need enough fragments to get all the stuff that we need eventually when we kill the Moonlord and get Luminite to make the best armor and gear. This first time we got just enough fragments for Hunter to make the solar eruption using solar fragments, and for me to make the Stardust Dragon. It's basically just a small dragon that flies around killing any enemies on the screen. It is pretty unique in one major way, but we will get to that later. For now, our goal was to use these small upgrades we got in this battle to fight the Moonlord the next time. This time around, doing the pillars, I could definitely tell that the dragon was helping a lot more than any other summon I've ever had up until this point. I mean, just look at it. It literally just will hunt things down for you and kill things without you even having to see them. It'll go off screen to kill an enemy. It's crazy and I love it, and it only gets better from there. But too bad it didn't really help, because we got killed once again from the Moonlord. But we did not quit, and this is a testament to not quitting, because third time's the charm. Well, fuck. Yeah, obviously we're either really bad or we're missing something, and turns out we were. Hunter thought that Chlorophyte armor was the best we could get up until this point, but there is actually one more. It's called Beetle Armor. To get it, we needed to kill Golem just a few more times and get beetle husks. Husks. That sounds weird. It's like wisps. Husks. Then go to the jungle and kill giant tortoises for their shells. All totaling, it was a semi-long grind, just about an hour and a half to 2 hours, with the longest part of it being the RNG of getting a shell when you kill turtles, because they're pretty low drop rate. But it was worth it, because all totaled you get about a 50% increase in defense, so it's like having another row of hearts. This was clearly evident when we did the Lunatic Cultist and pillars once again, that this was what we were missing.
Okay, come on. Hold A. Bitch dead. Alright,
Alright.
start running.
Oh.
Okay, I'm teleporting home and I'm getting healed. Okay, you teleport home. Come
Now
on.
what do I do? Oh, his heart.
It's hard, yeah. Wait, what? Come on!
Teleport back home. Grand
I
finale
can't.
for the video.
I'm literally gonna die.
It's fine, you can come. Finally, we had done it. We had technically beat Terraria, but just like Minecraft and the Ender Dragon, oh shit, I wasn't supposed to mention Minecraft again, this was not the end of the game. As is clearly evident by the time you can see under the video, yeah, we still had a good amount more to do, and our end goal technically was getting the Zenith done, so yeah. Back to grinding. Because we did kill the Moonlord though, we finally have the Luminite, and that allows us to upgrade our gear just a little bit. But it's nowhere near a full set of armor, so we did have to kill him multiple other times to get the full sets. Even if we didn't need Luminite, we still needed to kill the Moonlord multiple other times until we got 2 swords each that we both need. These swords are Star Wrath and Meowmere. Each sword had an 11.1% drop rate, and just like the Seedler, boy did we get unlucky as shit. But more on that later. Hunter, this is where you put the montage of us killing the pillars a bunch of times, so then we could upgrade our gear. With all the Luminite and fragments, we got fully upgraded gear. Hunter chose Solar, and I chose Stardust. To be clear, I eventually did make Solar armor and every other type of armor, but for now, I just made Stardust because I'm a summoner and I wanted to just go pure summoner route this game. But I love this armor. It does not have the best defense, it's actually worse than Beetle Armor, and I think it's around Titanium. Scratch that, just looked it up. It's actually around Orichalcum or Cobalt. It's like in between, and I did not know it was that bad. That makes me feel a lot better for dying multiple times in the future. Because it doesn't have the best defense, it's not the best against fighting bosses, but it's really amazing when you're just playing the game, mining, and just doing things that aren't super difficult. And because this armor is specifically meant for summoners, it actually gives you extra minions for each piece you put on. The helmet only gives me 1 extra minion, but the chest and legs both give me 2 extra, and because you always have one, that totals to 8. And with the full set equipped, I also get the Stardust Guardian, which is really good for close quarters encounters. Like anything that comes near me, if my dragon's out doing something, or whatever I have summoned is out doing something, the Guardian's always got me covered. Although I did take off the Guardian when I was building because it's super annoying and it's always right behind you, so I couldn't really see what I was doing. But other than that, I put it on every other time. And remember when I said that the Stardust Dragon is very unique in a certain way and different than other summons? Well, this is how. Instead of spawning multiple of the same minion like most other staffs in the game, the Stardust Dragon gets longer each time you activate it. This means that with a full Stardust gear, it's 8 times its size. And if I get some equipables and buffs, you can get that number up to 10. And the length of the dragon isn't purely cosmetic, it actually has a really useful effect. So basically, if the dragon, let's say it's 10 times its size, each segment does the same amount of damage. So let's say it does 100 damage times 10, that's 1,000 damage as it runs through a boss. This makes this summon the best in the game when it comes to doing damage to a few or one singular enemy. Because it can't be on multiple places at once, it's not the best at protecting you from all angles, but if it's going after one target, it's got your back. So to recap, I got full Stardust, Hunter has full Solar, which Solar, if you don't know, does extra defense, like a lot more defense, like double, almost triple what Stardust does, and it does more attack damage with melee weapons. So Hunter was really good at killing bosses, and I was really good at killing adds. So basically during the pillars, I was the boss, but during the Moonlord, he took all the heat. This is pretty convenient because we had to do the pillars and kill the Moonlord a ton of times. Like a lot. Like just as many times that we killed Plantera. And I mean, we must be the most unlucky people in the world because we did kill him 25 times before getting the last sword we needed. I mean, statistically, we didn't get really that unlucky. We could have killed him 40 times and it would have actually been kind of right because we needed 4 swords, and if it has a 10% drop rate, then 1 in every 10 chances, around 4 times out of 40, you're gonna get all the swords. But that's not exactly how statistics work, so there wasn't guaranteed. But we really got a lot of other weapons before. We got every single other weapon you could get from the Moonlord multiple times before getting the swords we needed. Also, it doesn't help that only about halfway through killing 25 of them, we figured out that you can make a celestial sigil, which just spawns the Moonlord without having to do the pillar event. So 15 of those times we did the pillars, every single time. And that's why we felt so screwed over, is because we did it so often and we had so many fragments and it took so long without us knowing that there was just a sigil we could use to spawn the Moonlord over and over and over. But with time, we got the Star Wrath and the Meowmere. The Star Wrath is similar to a pre-hard mode weapon named the Star Fury, but instead of raining down 1 star, this does a shit ton more, and it's really satisfying to use in my opinion. We also got the Meowmere, which is slightly better and shoots a bunch of Nyan cats that basically bounce around the world and do a bunch of damage. So those 2 swords and upgrading all of our gear were the only things we needed from the Moonlord, and now the rest of our playthrough was about getting the 3 other swords we didn't have: the Horseman's Blade, the Influx Waiver, and the Enchanted Sword. We tried to get the Horseman's Blade earlier from the Pumpkin Moon event, but it was too hard. With the gear we have now and these swords, it was gonna be easy, but I didn't expect it to be one of the funnest times I've ever had while playing this game.
Holy shit, there's like 5.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
There's like 6.
Oh my god. Holy shit.
Damn,
Come
dude.
out. Let's. Oh my, there's like 7! Oh my god!
I'm coming.
They're all in one.
I can't find my cursor, dude.
Holy fucking shit!
Holy
This is
shit.
crazy!
This is crazy, dude.
This is probably the most chaotic thing I've ever done in a video game. You kill them, and then you get all their hearts.
Yeah, I have 1.
Look at all the morning woods below us! Holy shit! There's like
No
8 of
way.
them! There's like 20 of them! Next up is the Enchanted Sword. This one we should have gotten a while ago, but we somehow didn't, and Hunter knew exactly what he was looking for, so to make things a little bit easier, he decided that he was just going to go into a separate world and look for 2 of them, each for one of us. Last up is the Influx Waiver. These are obtained from the Martian event, but we already had one, so we only needed 1 of them for me, and of course with our luck, this took multiple tries. We basically would just go to the outer thirds of the map, flying around looking for Martian probes. As soon as we found one, we would just let it spot us, return back into space, and then start the Martian event. And we had to do this multiple times because, of course with our luck, it took multiple tries. But after our final tedious and slow grind, we finally got the Influx Waiver, the final sword needed to craft the Zenith. Okay, so just to recap, because I know it's been a while, the Zenith is the best weapon in the game when it comes to damage per second. This sword is crafted by finding 10 other swords in the game. One of the 10 is the Terrablade, which is crafted using multiple other swords that are crafted from even more swords. So all in total, about 19 are needed to make the Zenith, if my math is correct. We have been collecting these swords in various ways at various times, and mind you, Hunter made it a point, and I made it a point myself, not to look up what the Zenith looks like or what it does. So I was going into this completely blind. I had no idea what it looked like or what it did or how much damage it did. All I knew is that it was super OP and it was really cool. Alright, so I gave you all my swords. Make the Zenith.
Okay, I made it for you. Now, oh wait, the what's it called? The prefix on it's pretty bad. So I'm gonna re-roll it for you real fast. Just give me 1 second. Bro, are you serious? You got legendary the 2nd time. That is literally the best you can
Is
get.
that better than Godly?
Yeah, that's better than godly for swords.
Let's
Legendary is better.
go!
That's insane, dude.
Oh shit, dude. This thing probably does like 400 damage. Give
You'll
it.
see, dude.
Give
Okay,
it.
okay, I'm
Give
bringing
it.
it home.
Give it. Dude, I haven't seen it yet. I've like avoided all wikis. I've avoided everything, dude.
All right, here you go,
Give me the
homie.
Zenith, sir. Oh, it looks epic, dude. All right. Should I use it?
Yeah, dude.
Oh.
Put your
Here,
your startup thing
I'm
on.
gonna kill my dragon. Okay. Let's go. I'll kill this.
Evaporate this bitch.
Holy shit! That's epic, dude. Is that every sword?
Yeah, dude. You can even see the copper sword in there too. It's every single sword.
That's sick. How much damage is 2-8? That's not as much as I thought it would do.
I know, but that's per second that it's on a target. So
That's insane.
it's
That's
kind of
every
insane.
Single... Damn. That's
Yeah,
crazy,
every
actually.
single second it's on the
that's
target.
That's
it
not
does
even
on
with
the
like solar armor or anything. Okay, so I might not completely have been clear in that clip how cool I think the Zenith is. I think that is super creative that you can see every single sword. It really does combine everything you've done up until this point in a really cool and very, very OP experience. And like I've also said, the only downside is that other classes don't get this same experience. And I'm just gonna spitball here, but I think it would be really cool if each class, just like the Zenith, doesn't have any restrictions limited on your screen. So the Summoner Staff would be able to reach anywhere you can see, blocks don't restrict it. Same thing goes for range. I think it'd be really cool if a gun shot 3 streams of bullets that had a 20% chance of using ammo. So basically, you kind of have unlimited bullets if you load it up in your inventory. And it doesn't really feel that OP because the Zenith already is infinite and can reach anywhere on your screen. Having a ranged weapon that's kind of like that, that's just as hard to get, doesn't really feel that OP in comparison. Another cool idea I had for mages would be you're able to click anywhere on your screen and spawn a black hole or something cool like that. And you might be thinking, whoa, that's like super OP. What the hell? You can just click anywhere and it'll just summon like a black hole that does damage to multiple enemies. But if you think about it for even more than a second, you might be like, actually that's the least OP because you have a limited amount of mana. You can't just stock up on mana like you could with ammo or have unlimited uses like you can with a sword or a summoning staff. But this would give the game and the class system just more fleshed out ideas instead of just the main point of the game and like the final thing you can do, getting the Zenith, which is only kind of for solar people and melee classes. But I know I've talked about it twice at this point, so this is actually where I'm going to stop and where I'm going to talk about what we did the rest of our playthrough, because the Zenith wasn't the final thing. We still had to deck out the world, and I had to deck out myself and get all the stuff I wanted to make myself like a god version of my character. So to get everything I wanted in the game, I had to get the Terra Prisma, which is the final summoner staff and the best one in the game. To get it, you have to kill the Empress of Light during the day. Now, during the night, the Empress of Light really isn't that bad. She's slightly easier than the Moonlord, but during the day, she is more difficult. Every single one of her attacks instantly kill you, regardless of defense, regardless of anything. They all one-shot you. So I kind of just loaded up on all my summoner stuff because I was kind of in my prime. Defense doesn't really matter, so I was just going for pure just damage per second. And it only took us 2 tries. We just kind of had to learn her attack pattern, but we eventually killed her and got the Terra Prisma. And I fucking love this summoning staff. It is so damn cool. It does over 200 damage, and literally you stack these things on your back, and you can get like 10 of them at a time. So you can attack 10 enemies at once and just do 250 damage to each of them. That is one thing that I did complain about when I had the Stardust Dragon, is that it can only attack 1 enemy at once, making it very limited. But being able to attack 10 enemies at once and doing more damage, it's absolutely perfect. And it's the closest that summoners can get to Zenith, and I kind of think that it's just one step away. If only it wasn't limited by being able to see enemies through blocks, I think it would just be absolutely perfect. Most of the time, I didn't even get the chance to see my enemies. The Terra Prismas would just take care of shit easy. They would just go out of their way to kill everything and anything on sight. It got to a point where I could just stand there during solar eclipses. I would leave my chair, go eat some food during a solar eclipse because I was not worried about anything coming near me. And then I would just get back, collect all the items, collect all the money, and be chilling. And now I'm gonna talk about my final setup, my final character, what he looks like, what his inventory's like, at the end of the playthrough, like at the very end. I've stopped playing the game at this point of me talking, and so I'm going to show you exactly what I have at that point. Alright, so this is where you're going to see the final look of my character and my final inventory and all that. So at this point, I have stopped playing the game. Me and Hunter we've actually gotten off the world. Like I will not progress past this point where I am now. I technically could. There's technically more stuff I could go get, but at this point, we just kind of need to get the video done. I would be working on this for so long if I was trying to absolutely perfect it. I would literally be working on this video for months and months and months and months. And I've already been working on it for like 3 months. So we just need to get it done with. So I'm at about 98% of where I could be. So yeah, if you want to look at my inventory, I've got all my favorite stuff in here. I got all my coins and all that. I got all the cool stuff that I have. I got all my dyes equipped. All my final summoner stuff on here. And yeah, so let's first talk about my color scheme. I was going for a more dark look, so I got black and I got dark purple on there. I also got my dog, Raccoon. His name is Raccoon because I couldn't find a raccoon pet. Yeah, I got my guardian, I got my Terra Prismas right here. Terra Prismas I went for, so I couldn't really do a dark look. I tried to do the purple on them, but it kind of just looks off because as you can see, the trail is rainbow, and that doesn't change when you put a new dye on there. So yeah, I did just the dark rainbow, and I think it does look cool, and I think it looks better than the normal Terra Prismas. So I got these on here. I got my Terra Prisma Masterful, so that's like the best thing one of the best. You could technically Ruthless, but I rolled this like so many times. And I could not get Ruthless. So I just stuck with Masterful. It's not that much better to get Ruthless, so yeah. I also love the Zealous Starlight. You get this from the Empress of Light, and it fucking shreds. This thing's crazy. Like, it looks so cool. I just love the look of it. I just wish that, you know, I got this before I got the Zenith, but I got this afterwards, so it wasn't really useful at all. I also love the Nebula Blaze. I like how when you walk, it has like a trail right next to you, right on your fist. It shoots like this. I think it's super, super cool. I got the Light Kaleidoscope, which is a whip. Really good for summoners, and I didn't even know this until after I beat the game, that whips are used for summoners, and your summons will target anything that you whip. Also, because I have all these equipables, I have like 325 summon damage on this thing, which is crazy. My Zenith is at 218. So, yeah, this thing does a lot of damage, but of course it doesn't have as much DPS as the Zenith, so it's not as good. But I still like it, and it's really cool for summoners, and I wish I knew about it earlier. I got the Magic Missile. I still love this thing, and I still think it's really, really cool, and I wish there was a version that shot like a shit ton of these way faster and did way more damage, because I would totally have that on me all the time. I don't know why, I just love the Magic Missile so much. I just think it's so cool, and being able to do this is just so sick. I also got the Possessed Hatchet. This is when we were doing Golem, I believe, right after or right before Golem. Yeah, I love this thing. It searches for enemies, and you can go and you can use it as many times as you want. It's like the Hell's Reddemer from Mob of the Dead if you're a Zombies fan. I got the Hasty SDMG. This thing shoots fucking crazy, and it only consumes about 66%, or has a 66% chance to not consume your ammo. So only using ammo a third of the time. Really helpful. It's basically tripling your ammo. So yeah, I freaking shred through things with this. It's so crazy, and I love it. I could have higher damage, but I love how fast it shoots. I also got the Vampire Knives. These are great for being a summoner. And I also didn't get these until after, of course, completing the whole game. Like, this is the most recent item I got, because I opened a Crimson chest with a Crimson key, and those are really rare to get. I got that, like, just barely. Like, less than a week ago, when the day that me and Hunter were finalizing the world completely, finishing our base, which you're going to see here in a couple of minutes. But, yeah, these are really good for summoners because I don't have the greatest defense, so being able to steal life from something is very, very useful. And I just really wish I had these earlier. Like, that would have been so helpful when we were going for Moonlord a bunch of times. It would have been so good. Also, I got the Zenith on here, of course. I got it Legendary. Hasn't changed since then. Still love this thing. Oh my god, I love that. I just love that you can use every sword. It looks so cool. I'll never get over it. It looks so awesome. I got the Stardust Dragon to Masterful as well. The Ice Mirror instead of my Magic Mirror because I just found it and it's different. I got Super Healing Potions, Torches, my Silver Watch. I got the Butcher's Chainsaw. This is the chainsaw that I use whenever I'm mining trees. I got my Philosopher's Stone in here just in case. I got my Jagged Gold Ring, really, really good for when I'm just chilling and I don't need high defense or many summons at all. I just pop this baby on and then pop this lucky coin on and I get a ton of money just really, really easily. I also got my Chlorophyte Jackhammer on here. This was very useful when building along with the Stardust Drill. They're very, very fast and made things a lot easier. Yeah, at the end of the playthrough, so at this moment, I've ended up with about 45 platinum coins. I didn't really have anything to spend them on, so I wasn't really going for them. If I was going for more, or if I was going for 100, I probably could have gotten it, but there's really no use for them up until this point. All I would have to do is re-roll a bunch of stuff I don't really use. So yeah, if you're wondering about this, so yeah, this is my Celestial Starboard. You can only get this in Master Mode. So we went, and you'll see why we went to Master Mode to get certain items, and when you kill the boss you get a pouch that has a ton of stuff from each boss. And this is one of them. I just use it as the vanity because I actually like the wings, that they're just faster and they don't run out as fast. But I love the look of this. I also got this pixie dye shader on here, and I like the look of purple and gold together. So I think this looks pretty sick. I also got the warding worm, warding worm scarf. Tongue twister. All right. Yeah, this reduces damage taken by 20 or 17%. So it's really, really good, and I like it a lot especially because I'm a summoner. So it really helps with, you know, reducing damage coming in. I got the Pygmy Necklace. This is great. Increases my max number of minions by 1. Also gives me +4 defense because I have warding on it. I also got the Warding Papyrus Scarab. This increases my minions by another, so I have a max of 10 now, and it increases the damage and knockback of my minions. Also has warding, so +4 defense. And I needed warding on everything because now I'm at 58 defense. It's really, really useful for being a summoner to not be all the way down at freaking 38 defense. So I also got the lightning boots. I know that I could get the Terra Spark boots, but I need to finish this video, so I'm not gonna grind for those. I'm just gonna stop at the lightning boots. Honestly, I fly most places anyways, so it's not that useful. Yeah, if I was going for a complete 100% playthrough, like getting absolutely everything, I wouldn't, or I would go for them, but I don't really walk around that often, so yeah. So yeah, this is my max character. This is kind of what I just look like whenever I'm fighting bosses or whenever I'm doing anything like that. Of course, if it's something super difficult, I use my solar armor, but I just look like this most of the time, and I'm really, 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 really surprised that I got this far in the game. Like seriously, when I first started, I was I don't even remember. It's weird because in your brain you don't really think of you can't put yourself back in a mindset of not knowing something. So knowing what I know now, like my past self would be like, whoa dude, that's so fucking epic. But it's crazy. I literally went from not knowing anything. I went from mining stuff with an axe, mining just placed wood with an axe, which is, you can't do that. So I went from mining placed wood with an axe all the way up to this point where I can just sit here during a solar eclipse and I'm just totally fine. I can do literally anything. I'm just sitting here vibing, completely protected. I'm really happy I didn't just go straight solar route in this playthrough. Hunter went that way, and I just wanted to do something different than him. I also like being a summoner. I think it's pretty fun. But yeah. So that's all I'm gonna say. On to the rest of the video where I show the decked out world, and that is the crown jewel of this entire playthrough. I went all out, so you're not gonna be disappointed. And like I said right there, I am going to show you now what the world looked like when we were done decking it out. I spent probably 25 hours straight building. And because Hunter's not the most creative person, he's never had a world that he actually built in, he always just lives in a hotel room, it left me to do most of the heavy lifting. I probably did about 95% of all the building, not to say he didn't help, because he did. But yeah, I did a lot of it, and I'm very, very proud of how this world turned out. Like, it's not the craziest thing you'll ever see, but to me, I am just completely content and very, very proud of what I've done. And we went through a lot of stages of things looking shit before it eventually got to this point. Alright, so this is a portion of the video that's going to be a final tour. You can see what the world looks like. I'm going to talk more about it in a bit and talk about the building process and all the cool things I found and my opinions on like building and stuff like that. But for now, you're going to see what our world turned into when we finally beat the game and we decided to go all out on it. Disclaimer, most of the stuff was built by me. Hunter...
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Hunter helped, but most of this stuff was built by me. Just saying, not to brag, but
you're better.
I'm
cool.
literally better at everything, and Hunter's kind of a bitch. So, okay. All right, starting off. Actually, starting off, I'm going to look at just the map. So, as you can see, this is what our world turned into. So, I kind of went for a sort of floating island type of situation. I went through a lot of designs before I got to this one. And I like it. I think it's cool. I got like the rockets holding up the thing, and then I got like a fuel tank in the center right here. And then I kind of themed a house for each of the NPCs that like we kind of mainly use. So yeah. And then some of these other NPCs on the right are just the ones that I wanted to go creative with. Now we're gonna fly up to it. Alright, yeah. So first off, we got the druid in here. I built a little cool tree. It's pretty epic. Then I got the hospital for the nurse.
Wait, what did you call it?
It's a druid.
It's a dryad, homie.
Dryad. I'm thinking of a term. The nurse's hospital. I don't know what the fuck Zahn is in here doing, but yeah, I got this right here, and then the blacksmith for the dude. What's that guy? The tinker.
What?
Yeah, I got the blacksmith for the tinkerer. It's pretty cool. The lava is the most annoying fucking thing I've ever done in my life. I should not have done that. And then over here, this is kind of like a starting house. Like I was trying to make like a house that looks like it's just a very basic house. And this is where the die trader and the original guide are. So yeah, I was just trying to make a very simple build. And this is my upgraded Church of Bruh. And I am very, very proud of this build. I love how this church turned out. It's way, way better than the other one. And I learned a lot building all of these. You can see that you might be able to tell even which houses I built first. I kind of went from left to right. So as I go right, I got more creative and I learned more about building. So yeah, I really love how this turned out, especially the purple curtains right there. I loved how I got creative with that. And then this is my main house. I tried to fill it with a ton of stuff so it didn't look empty. It's really cool and I love it a lot. And I don't know how I'm going to top that ever. But yeah. Over here is our prized possession. Hunter, I'm going to let you talk about this.
I don't know what to say. This has just been the hardest grind of this playthrough. What we were doing is so each of these is every boss in this in the game, every boss in the game, and we defeated it in master mode to get each relic for each boss, and then the trophy has a 10% chance to drop from each boss. As you can see, we have all of them, including all the way up to the top here at ending with the Moonlord, and they also go in corresponding order in like how we defeated them. So down here are the basic ones like Eye of Cthulhu, Skeletron, Eater of Worlds, Brain of Cthulhu, and stuff like that. And then as you go up, increasing difficulty and or like world progression. And this took so long. It was just insane,
Yeah,
dude.
it was so fucking annoying getting all these, especially the lunatic cultist, because
Yeah,
you
this
have to do
guy's
the
a bitch,
whole
dude.
Pillars
High
event
key.
to fight him again. But yeah, these were very, very annoying to get, and you're gonna see the clip of the Flying Dutchman when we finally got that, and that was literally the last thing we needed.
Please. You get it?
We got it!
No, you didn't.
I swear to
Fuck
God.
up.
Huh?
No, we didn't.
I swear to God, we just got it. I swear to you. Holy shit.
Put it up here then. Oh, ready? Oh. You're memeing. Ah,
Let's go! Fuck yeah, dude. Oh, look at this place.
Look at our hard work, dude.
Hold on.
That's crazy.
Fuck you. Yeah, this
Yeah,
took
shit's
fucking
insane.
forever, and it was so goddamn annoying. But it was worth it, because I love how this turned out. Looks
It
really
looks so cool. Looks so clean.
Yeah.
Congrats to Gabe for building that. I had no part of it. Except for, yeah, that is about it.
And then over here, this is also, I'm gonna let Hunter talk about.
This is my UFO. This is where I live. You can see all my stuff in here. Me and Gabe were trying to find a cool house for me because, as you've seen in the video earlier, I built the most shitty ass houses and I'm the least creative person known to man. So I had Gabe help me with this. Well, he kind of did it for me, but
It's okay.
Yeah.
You.
I committed to helping him a
yeah,
little bit.
He
But
helped me. He helped me. He got it. But
yeah, it looks
yeah,
ice, dude.
it's really cool, and I love the vortex or is that Stardust?
This is Stardust.
Yeah, I love the Stardust background.
Vortex looks good too.
It
but
literally pulls
I
it
think
all together.
Stardust is better. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it looks really, really cool when it's like that. And then yeah, we gave it like sort of a crash landing type vibe, so it's kind of in a crater. And yeah, I love how this turned out. Like, actually, like we took so long trying to decide what shape we wanted for the UFO, but I definitely think we got it right. All right, and then this is the party girl's house. So, and I tried to get, like, I went to her and I bought like every single thing that was just super out there and crazy, rainbow, colorful, and like I even got these balloon machines and this confetti cannon.
Yes,
So,
sir.
I got this confetti and I can light these things up.
You know what that calls for? Is this. Hold on. Yes, sir.
Yo, rainbow
Rainbow
Let's
die.
get it.
Let's get
All right. Yeah, and then I even got these like firework things right here. And then these.
Epic.
Oh fuck. Oh shit. Oh. Pew 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 pew. Oh, and then sparklers right here. Sparkle.
Ooh, sparklers.
Shoot confetti. Shoot fireworks.
side.
Go. Yeah, I literally went all out on this. So, yeah. This also took me a while to get, but I think I'm actually really proud of this, and that's, I think, one of my better builds in this whole world. And then the pirate ship.
This is epic.
I also love this pirate ship. It took me a long time to figure out how to do the sails, but I think they turned out really, really well.
My favorite part of this build is this pile of gold right here.
Yeah, I know. I can't.
That's
I was like,
detail.
yeah, I was trying to have it be sort of like a stash of golden things. So we did the pirate event a shit ton from the Flying Dutchman, and so I got all these parts for it, so I can add a lot more. But yeah, I like how it's just full of chests and stuff. It looks like it literally just crashed here and someone's camping out the side of it.
Pretty sick.
Yeah, and then that's kind of our main island, but then this is just an estimated like almost 600, around like 580. Some of them are repeated, but 580 banners total. It's fucking crazy. I literally run for so long, and it spans across the whole island. It is almost 600 banners.
That is crazy, dude.
It is literally insane. And if you see right here, I'll pop this up. We have a ton of increased damage and defense from all these. So if any mob wants to come at us, dude, they can try.
They can try anyway. I mean, we have
yeah, they can. I mean, yeah, they can try anyway. But then the final thing to kind of show you is this. So I was going for sort of, I didn't know what to put in this middle area. But then I decided if I was gonna go for like these rockets right here, it would be kind of cool to have a way that they were being fueled, I guess. So I added a little fuel tank. And then instead of just going for a main, just like hotel that was kind of boring, I kind of just made it go out a little bit. Just gave sort of a more creative design than just a rectangle. And then, yeah, I set up all these NPCs to where they're all near the people that they like, and they're all away from the people that they don't. And yeah, that's kind of the whole world. We kind of just made this island, this main island, and I didn't really change up anything else. This is the final look of the world.
40, like almost probably around 50 hours put into this world, dude.
No.
It may be even
50.
more.
It's way more than 50. It's probably around 70. Just for me building.
Yeah, no, you're right, actually. I forgot you builds and stuff. I'm thinking about.
For me building, this is around 70 hours into one single world, and it's only been like 2 months. So
yeah, this
shit is it doesn't really seem like that much, but it is a lot for us because I mean
that's over an hour a day. So
yeah,
I mean,
we
have work.
We have full-time jobs and we do other YouTube videos and we have stuff like that. And I've been working on that script I've been working on all video, and Hunter has to edit. So yeah, this took a lot of dedication, took a lot of time, a lot of creativity, and I'm very, very proud of it. It really is crazy to me that I went from knowing absolutely nothing about this game. I have only played it once before, like I said, but now I know almost everything. I know like 80% of the game. I can do a lot of things in it. I could teach someone else if I wanted to, just because I've played so much. And this might sound a little bit, stupid and cheesy, but it really kind of does make me sad that the world is over with. I'm not gonna really be able to experience anything new from Terraria. I just wish there was always more, and I know there can't always be more, but I wish there was. And I really do love this game. I hold a very high opinion of this, and I would recommend it to a lot of other people. And if you're gonna ask me what I'm gonna rate it out of 10, I mean, I think I'd give it a fair, 6.5. It's not that good. I mean, not enough content to do a whole video on. So that's the whole video. I'm completely done with it, and this is just gonna be me ad-libbing. I don't have any sort of script or anything like that for this part. This is the first type of video that I've ever done like this, a long form, like scripted out thing. And I spent about 2.5 months working on this script. So if you did like the video, please hit the like button and please subscribe if you want to see more from me. I'm going to be dropping a big video like this, probably depending on my schedule and depending on how much support these get, around 6-ish months. So 6 months apart. And even just doing that, I'm still putting out more than Joseph Anderson, so I think I'll do all right. That wasn't me throwing shade at Joseph Anderson. I absolutely love his videos. I fall asleep to them like every single night. So yeah, he really was a big inspiration for this type of video. I really like his videos, and I wanted to do something similar. And if you don't know who Joseph Anderson is, you're missing out. It's gonna take you like a whole 2 weeks, like listening straight, to get through all of his content. But I know that this is nothing compared to what he makes. But yeah, you have to start somewhere when you're doing stuff like this. And so I had to make a video in order to get better at making these types of videos. If you do have criticisms like that, leave them in the comments. Seriously, I really, it's hard to kind of offend me. So just go blunt, just say what you mean. I will totally take those criticisms to heart, make the next one better. And if you've made it to this point, one thing I want to say, final thing, massive thank you to Hunter. Everyone comment that right now. If you're watching this video, comment massive thank you to Hunter. He literally puts in so much hours just into editing, and we're both getting better at what we do, but him especially, he puts in hours, he grinds for it. So please thank him in the comments. Yeah, I will make another one of these in 4 to 6 months, so see you then.